This will change a large degree of our interactions in today's society, which is essentially digital, and a data protection law which serves you and me is an urgent need for everyone today. The Joint Parliamentary Committee, headed by Mr. P.P. Chaudhary, submitted its report and a redrafted version of the Data Protection Bill to Parliament yesterday on December 16th. And this report and the appended bill by itself makes certain vital changes which will impact you. And this is because today, in a digitized society, our interactions with each other, our employers, with private companies, or even with the government today all involve a digital element in which our personal data is being gathered. This law is expected to provide a baseline of regulation, how these transfers happen, and how consent which needs to be taken from us, notices which need to be put to us, and the data which is then used is remaining within the control of the user or the individual. However, does this law actually achieve that? And here there are certain question marks, and I will concentrate this on three clear clusters. So the first problem which emerges and the concerns which are arising is that from the point of time when the expert committee proposed this law, which is the Justice B.N. Shri Krishna Committee of Experts in 2018, it had titled its very report itself as a data protection law for the promotion of a free and fair digital economy. It essentially meant that the law's objective was not only to secure the personal data of an individual, but was to promote industry. Now think about this. Will a Environmental Protection Act also aim to promote industrial enterprise, or whether a labor regulation such as an Employee State Insurance Act also look at promoting special economic zones? It will not. These will be the topic of separate and distinct legislations. However, the JPC in its report has noted that a core element of India's data protection objectives has to be towards the promotion of digital enterprises. And how does it manifest itself in specific provisions, for instance, are through flawed policies such as data localization, where the JPC report actually in a separate title says that it is necessary for the generation of employment, but its practical effect is that data cannot be transferred outside India and companies need to set up offices in India. So what does it mean for small companies which are providing very specific platforms or services to individuals in India? They will not any longer be available, or these companies will have to place servers in India with higher costs, and thereby these services will be more expensive to people in India. The second point I want to concentrate on are the large scale state exemptions. And this becomes very clear from the law because it does not even deal with any form of surveillance reform. So, for instance, issues which have been in the press like Pegasus or large scale infrastructure projects for surveillance or mass surveillance like NatGrid, CMS, social media monitoring, facial recognition, that is all outside the ambit of this law. But what makes this worse is that there are exemptions, blanket exemptions given to the government under certain clauses. Firstly, under clause 12, where under grounds of necessity, the government can gather any data without seeking consent. Under clause 35, it can exempt any government department. And the third and the final part I'd like to touch upon is that whether the enforcement authority, which is the Data Protection Authority, will it be independent? Will it be strong? Will it have these kind of powers to enforce the law? And here we should look at the appointment of this body. The appointment of this body, as recommended by Justice B.N. Shri Krishna, comprised of the Chief Justice of India as its chairperson, thereby denoting that the appointment could result in a chairperson of the Data Protection Authority, the enforcement authority, to be independent. The appointment committee being independent results in an independent DPA. But what has the 2021 Data Protection Bill, which has been proposed by the JPC, done has been it's changed it to it's retained some government appointees and some IIT, IIM directors, which can be chosen by the central government. Essentially, the central government chooses who becomes a member of the Data Protection Authority. And the Data Protection Authority is also bound by the directions of the central government. So it will have no independence whatsoever. Due to these concerns, several people are calling for another fresh consultation on the data protection bill, and it is seeming that this law will be transmitted back to the Ministry of Electronics and IT, which will have another look at it, and it will be introduced again in Parliament.